Good morning, it's Amber with the White Dog Farm. I'm out here in the barn and I have another story for you. We've been requested to continue sharing some of these little stories from our time in ministry, and so I'm just going to keep on until we run out of stories or until we get bored with it or until you get bored with it, and then we'll move on to something else. But this one comes from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and you need to probably prepare yourself for this one because you might hurt yourself laughing. It is so sad it's funny. It's looking back at the time it was horrible, but now it's really funny. So anyway, Lake Charles, Louisiana, we're newly married, hadn't been married for maybe a couple of years, and we're living in Lake Charles, Louisiana. My husband is a youth pastor there. He goes to Florida for a training. I believe it was with the Billy Graham Association. It might have been when he was in seminary. I don't remember. But anyway, he had to go to Florida for a trip for a while. So Houston is the nearest airport. So he drove the car to Houston, parked in an airport parking place, flew to Florida, did what he had to do there, came back to Houston, got to his car in the parking lot, and it does not start. This is probably 10 o'clock at night when he got in, and the car will not start. And he fooled with it for a while trying to get it going, and it just wasn't going to start at all. So he called me and said, I can't get the car started. I'm going to sleep in my car here in Houston, and then I'll get up in the morning when places are open and deal with this. And I said, oh, no, you're not going to sleep in the car in Houston, Texas. I will come and get you. So now, mind you, I am very pregnant at the time. I was probably 8 or 9 months pregnant with our oldest son. And so I asked him, I said, where are you at? And he said, well, if you get to such and such a road, you turn off that road and you will see a blue and white sign that says airport parking. And that's where I'm at. And I said, well, does this parking lot have a name? And he said, no, it's just a blue and white sign that says airport parking. Now, I thought that was a little strange, but he's there. He should know. So I took my pregnant self, got in the car, drove to Houston, Texas, 2-hour drive, got there, find the road, pull off on the road. First thing I see is a blue and white sign that says airport parking. Great, easy, I got it. So I pull over and I don't see him anywhere. He's not there. So I go up to the person working in the booth and I said, was there a guy here with this type of car and he was having trouble getting it started? And they, oh yeah, we had a guy that by that description. He was here a couple hours ago. He got his car fixed and he went home. And I thought, oh no, he wouldn't. Now this is before cell phones, okay? I thought, no, he wouldn't. And I thought, no, he really wouldn't. He would have waited for me to get there and tell me that it was fixed. He wouldn't just drive 2 hours and let me, knowing that I was on the way. So, I mean, he's better than that. So, okay. So I started to walk away, trying to figure this out. And I turned around and I said, is there by chance another airport parking lot on this road that has a blue and white sign? And they said, oh yeah, probably half a dozen of them. Okay, so I get back in my car and I proceed down the road, stopping at every one of those places until I finally find the one he's at. And yes, it did have a name. I found him. By this time, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. We're tired. He's frustrated. The car won't run. So he says, you know what? I have a chain in my car. We can tow this thing to a garage somewhere here locally and park it and then go home and deal with all this tomorrow. I said, okay. Now, I have never towed anybody with a chain before. So he is really, really emphatic when he says, do not brake, okay? You accelerate, I brake. So okay, don't brake, don't brake, don't brake. Okay, got it. Don't brake. Got it. So we hook up and we're driving out of the airport parking lot, and there's, the little pay booth there, and they have the little board that comes down. So I'm waiting for him to brake, and he's not braking. And we're getting closer and closer and closer. And I roll my window down and the lady's yelling, stop, stop. And I'm yelling, I can't. And I look and the little board is coming up over the hood of my car. And I'm like, I'm going to get decapitated. So I dove down and laid down in the seat, and he finally put the brake on and stopped. So, okay, we pay for the parking. We get out on the freeway. We're trying to find a garage. We get the address. We're going to the garage. Driving down the interstate. I'm towing him with the chain. No problem. Things are going good. And I look in my rearview mirror, and he's not there anymore. Great. I lost him somewhere, and I don't know where. So I thought, okay, I got to get off at the next exit and turn around and go back and figure out where I left him. So I pull off the next exit, and there's a red light there. So I'm stopped at this red light, and there's a guy in the lane next to me stopped at the red light too, and he's motioning for me to roll my window down. So I roll my window down, and he's like, you're dragging a chain. And I said, I know. My husband's supposed to be back there. And the light turned green, and I took off, and I thought, that probably didn't sound good. But anyway, went back, found him on the side of the road, pulled, got turned around, went back, hooked up again. Finally got the car to a garage. By this time, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. We're exhausted. We're frustrated. Nothing's going right. So he says, how about if we just find a hotel and get a few hours sleep? And once we get some sleep, then we can deal with this. Sounds good. Okay. So we go on down the road, and we find this little kind of run-down looking motel on the side of the road, and we pulled in. It looked a little rough, so I said, watch out for potholes. And I no more than said that, then the front end of our car did a nosedive into this gigantic hole. I mean, the rear wheels were off the ground. We were in a hole. Great. This is the only car we have that works, and it's in a hole in Houston, Texas. So we tried to get it out. It's not budging. It will not come out of this stupid hole. So little Chinese guy who owns the hotel, he comes out, and he doesn't speak much English. And so Brian's trying to ask him, do you have some boards? And he's like, not understanding what we're saying. Brian's trying to think, get some boards under it, get some leverage. Maybe we can get it out that way. Guy doesn't understand. Oh, yeah, I got it. So he goes off to get these boards, and he comes back with these little twigs off of a tree. Yeah, that's not what we had in mind. So we kept working. We finally thought we need to weigh down the back of the vehicle, right? So I'm very pregnant. So I get nominated to sit on the back of this car and try to bounce it down with the little Chinese guy. We're both on the back of the car trying to get it weighed down so Brian can get it out. It's not coming. It's just not going to come out of this hole. I mean, it was in there good. We finally end up having to call a tow truck. The tow truck came, got the car out, got it to a garage. By this time, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and we don't need a hotel anymore because the night is gone. So we went to Denny's and got some coffee and went back to Lake Charles and came back the next day after we had some rest and dealt with it. But yeah, that was our night in Houston, Texas. Yeah, pretty crazy. Funny, the things you get into. Now, that all worked out really well, except that Brian did get in trouble from some of the people who went to our church for letting me drive to Houston in the middle of the night. But anyway, that's what it is. And that's our story. If you come back tomorrow, I'm going to have another story about a very romantic horseback ride down the beaches of Galveston, Texas. You're going to want to hear that one. So check back tomorrow or the next day for that one, and I will talk to you later. You go make it a good day.